Alright guys, we're going to get started on our to-do list application. So I'm in my htdocs folder and we need to set up a new site for Laravel. So we're going to go ahead and use Composer to do that. So let's say Composer and say create dash project. This is going to be Laravel / Laravel, and then the name of it, we'll just call it to-do list. Alright, so let's go ahead and run that. Now while that's going on, I'm going to set up our virtual host file and the host file. So let's first go to XAMPP, Apache, or wherever your Apache folder is on your system. And then we're going to go to conf extra, and we want to open up the http dv host file. And what I'm going to do is just copy this right here and paste that in, and then this document root is going to be in htdocs to-do list / public, and then for the server name we're going to do to-do list.dev, and let's save that, and then we're going to exit out and go back into Notepad as administrator. Okay, so we want to do right click, run as administrator, and we're going to go say open, and you want to go to C drive, Windows, System32, drivers, etc, and then just choose all files, and we're going to open the host file. Okay, just like we did with the last site, we're going to do 127.0.0.1 and then to-do list.dev. Okay, we'll save that and exit. Okay, now we just want to go ahead and restart Apache. So we're going to say Apache stop and start. Alright, so as soon as this is done getting set up, our Laravel project, we should be able to visit it using to-do list.dev. Alright, so that's all set. And there's our application. Okay, so we're creating a to-do list, so we know that we're probably going to need a to-dos controller. We're going to need a model called to-do, and we're going to need to create a database. So let's go ahead and create the controller. Now, there's actually a flag we can use when we create a controller called resource, which will set up a bunch of routes for us. So let's go ahead and just try this. So we're going to say cd to-do list, and from here let's do php artisan, and then we're going to do make controller, and we'll say to-dos controller, and then -- resource. Alright, and I'm just going to open up Atom, and let's see, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to add the new folder. Okay, and now if we go in app http controllers, you'll see there's a to-do controller, and what that resource flag did is it created all these functions that relate to being a CRUD controller, which is create, read, update, and delete. So index will be used to list all the to-dos. Create is basically the form for creating a to-do. Store is for saving it once we submit that form. Show is to show the individual to-do. Edit is to show the edit form. Update is to actually run the edit form and update the to-do or whatever the resource, and then destroy is to delete it. Alright, now if we look in the routes, which is in routes and then web.php, we don't need to actually create routes for all of those functions. Alright, so all we actually have to do here is say route and then resource, and then in here we're going to pass in to do, and then the controller name, which is to-dos controller. Alright, and that'll take care of all the create, the show, all that stuff. Now for the home page, I'm going to actually I'm just gonna say route get and slash, and then we're going to set that to to-dos controller at index. All right, because with this, by default, to get the index, you do /todos. But I actually want the home page to also point to that index. So let's go ahead and save. Now, if we go back and reload, it's telling us undefined constant todos controller. Yep, that's because this needs to have quotes. All right, so now our home page is actually going to the index function right here. If I were to say return 1, 2, 3 and reload, you'll see that that's actually running. Now I want to get right into creating the model and the database tables. So let's go to phpMyAdmin. And we're going to create a new database. Okay, we're just going to call it to-do list. And that's all we should have to do here. Now we're going to generate the model with a migration to run. Okay, so let's say php artisan, and we're going to do make :model, and we're going to call it to do, and then add the -m, which will create a migration file. All right, so now let's go to database and then migrations, and you'll see this create to-dos table. So as it stands now, it's just going to create the ID and the timestamp. So we want a couple extra things in here. So we want the text, which is going to be kind of like the title. I almost wrote title. So table, and this is going to be a string field, and we're going to call this text. All right, then we'll also have a body. So let's say table, and this I'm going to set to medium text. That'll be body. And then I also want a due field, or a due date. So let's say table, and I'm actually going to set this to a string. And the reason for that is I want the user to be able to choose what type of format their due date will be. So if they want to write Monday or Tuesday or something like that, that should be okay, as well as the date, you know, whatever they want. So I'm going to put that in as a string. So that should be all we need to do here. Let's go ahead and save this. And then we want to run the migration. So we'll say php artisan migrate. Oh, I keep forgetting to do this. We need to put in our database fields in the .env file. So db database is going to be to-do list, username, password, and let's save that. And then we also need to take care of that bug that we saw on the first project. So we need to go to our providers and then app service provider, and we just want to bring in the schema package. So we'll say use illuminate /support /facades /schema. And then we just want to go into the boot function here, and let's do schema default string length, and we're going to put in here 191. So let's save that, and now we should be able to run migrate. Let's go over here first and go back to to-do list. Okay, so it didn't actually create anything. Well, it couldn't have because we weren't connected correctly. But now we should be able to do migrate. And if we go back and reload, now you'll see we have the to-dos table. And look at the structure, and it has text, body, and due. All right, so now that that's created, we can now work with our model. Now I'm going to introduce you to something called Tinker, which is basically, it's kind of like a shell for our database. We can run all kinds of commands. So to run Tinker, we just need to do php artisan Tinker. All right, so now we're basically in the shell and we can run commands. So what I want to do is insert a to-do. So we should be able to say to-do, we'll set a variable and set that to new app /to-do. All right, so we did that. Now we want to basically fill the fields out. So we'll say to do text, and we're going to set that equal to, we'll just say to do 1. So that sets the text field. Now let's do the body. So to do body, and we're going to set that equal to, let's just say this is my first to do. Okay, and then we want to set the due date. So to do is going to be equal to, let's just say, I don't know, Monday, May 7. All right, so now we need to save it. So we're going to do save. And that should now be in there. Now if we want to select data, we can simply say app/to-do, and let's do all. And there it is. And if we look over here in PHPMyAdmin, go to browse, there it is. If we wanted to get a specific to-do, I mean there's only one in there, but if there were more, we could say app/to-do, and we should be able to do find, and then we'll put in the ID, which will be 1, and that gives us a single to-do. Let's go ahead and just add one more. So we'll say to-do equals new app to-do, and then we want the text, I'll set that to 2, and then body, just change that to second, and then do, let's say 8 Tuesday, and then we just want to run the save command. Alright, so now if we go back and we say all, now you can see there's 2 in there. If we reload the database, you can see there's 2. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop here. In the next video, we want to make it so that on our home page here, we can list out all of the to-dos. We also want to create our views and also implement compiling our assets. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.